What is up, Hawk fans? I know I'm a day and a half late to the Iowa Hawkeyes absolutely getting throttled by UCLA on the road in Southern California. I think I'm going to start a new thing. When Iowa loses, I'm going to put on the sunglasses because it's really the only way that I can get myself in any frame of mind just kind of joking around, kind of much like Iowa men's basketball was doing when they got shellacked by UCLA. But kind of what I'm thinking is it's like going to a funeral, and it's my way of coping with the loss. Okay, so if you guys want to hate on the sunglasses, be my guest. I think they look pretty snazzy. And I might do this moving forward for Iowa losses. In particular, straight losses, multiple losses in a row, like what we've seen from Iowa basketball, going to Southern California, coming away with 0 victories. So let me start here, and I'm going to try and make this video quick because there's not really a ton to discuss. I said, going back, I don't know, six games or so, I said that Iowa needed to win a certain amount of games. I think I went back, I think it was from the Utah game, it may have been the New Hampshire game. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I think it was after the New Hampshire game, and I said, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I said that Iowa needed to go 5-2 minimum. Well, minimum 4-3, but preferably 5-2 or 6-1. So, since they played New Hampshire, they played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And they're about to play Penn State. So they lost to Wisconsin. There's one. So the best that they can finish is 4-3. Okay. And like I said, that was the minimum. And I said that it was very attainable, very achievable for them to finish 5-2 or even go 6-1. But of course, I completely overvalued this current Iowa men's basketball team. And I'm not going to do that in the future. Okay. The current losses that they have had over this span is to Wisconsin on the road and to UCLA and to USC. They have defeated Indiana and Nebraska, and the 2 games coming up at home against Minnesota and at home against Penn State, those are absolutely must-wins. Okay, Iowa cannot lose either of those 2 games. Obviously, if they lose one of those games, it's not impossible for them to make the NCAA tournament. But if they want to be in a good spot or a decent spot, they can't. So let me just just to do a quick, synopsis of the game against UCLA. Iowa started the game terribly. Much like the USC game, they early in the game they struggled. I would say against UCLA they struggled earlier than against USC. UCLA probably is a better team than USC, although USC has gotten hot and definitely does have some talent on the roster. Iowa, yet again, for a second game in a row, allowed the opposing team to shoot over 60%. This is absurd, and this is why I'm wearing sunglasses, because it is so absurd. It is like I am dead. It's like I am going to a funeral. It is so bad. I mean, what really can you say when you allow back-to-back teams, and you're a Big Ten team, and you have hopes of making the NCAA tournament, and you allow 2 teams to shoot 60% from the floor? And they're not even 2 of the better shooting teams in the country. Definitely not USC. Iowa shot 44.7. That's why they lost more than they lost to against USC. USC, their offense was decent. UCLA limited Iowa's offense. In pretty much every statistical category, I mean, Iowa shot slightly better from 3. Total rebounds, Iowa was rebounded by 10 rebounds. Not as bad as against USC, but still not good. 29-19. Assists, and this is where it really is surprising because usually Iowa does well with this. UCLA had 26 assists compared to Iowa's 14. Iowa had 15 turnovers compared to UCLA's 14. Again, that is somewhat uncharacteristic. And what those stats show is Iowa allowed UCLA to get and do whatever they wanted. And this is 3 times now on the road that Iowa has done this. Wisconsin, UCLA, and USC. And I would even say against Michigan when they were on the road, they allowed Michigan to shoot better than they should have. Now, they battled and they made the game closer than maybe Michigan would have liked, or maybe it should have been, and credit to Iowa for battling. But again, it wasn't sufficient. It wasn't where it needs to be, and they lost. So they allowed UCLA to get and do whatever they wanted. UCLA could move the ball freely, openly. The arrogance that UCLA was playing this game with, Iowa should have just quit. That's how bad it was. It was so embarrassing. There was no pride on the defensive side of the ball. And this is why there is tremendous apathy when it comes to Iowa basketball, because it's the same show over and over and over. It's the same storyline. It's the same headline. It's a different day, same story. You know, where Iowa wins 1 or 2 at home, we get kind of like a false sense of optimism, positivity, and then they go on the road, they get shellacked. They allow the team to do whatever they want. They don't have the mental or physical toughness needed to go on the road in the Big Ten and get a victory. And the thing is, UCLA and USC aren't even like the toughest environments in the Big Ten. Okay, USC and UCLA, and this is why I thought Iowa might have a chance to win the game. They are known, you know, that area. Obviously, there's the fires. The fires notwithstanding, it is a known thing that there are other shows in town other than USC and UCLA basketball. Okay, it's they don't. It's not that they have like bad fan participation, but comparatively in the Big Ten, there are, you know, I would say USC and UCLA are like middle, at times towards the bottom, depending on the season, depending on the game, stuff like that. Again, no Big Ten team has bad home audiences, but it's not like going on the road against Michigan State or Indiana or some of these other schools, or Iowa State, or what, you know, I know Iowa State's not in the Big Ten, but there are worse or tougher environments to be in. And right now, guys, what it just boils down to, and I'm just going to try and wrap it up here, is Iowa, and this ultimately, if they don't make the NCAA tournament, this is going to be the reason why they don't have the mental fortitude to do what is needed to win on the road. The only guy on Iowa's team that I would say from game to game has consistent grittiness, toughness, is Drew Thelwell. That's it. You know, maybe Seydou Traore, but he plays limited minutes. You know, Owen Freeman at times plays with some grittiness and passion and fortitude and physicality, but at times he plays softer than I would like, especially if he wants to play in the NBA. So Iowa is at a make or break point in the season. Okay, they are still projected to be in the NCAA tournament, just barely by at least some publications. They're definitely not out of it. Okay, I usually look at Bart Torvik, and they moved to last four in. They're probably just out now after their loss to UCLA. So they don't have any bad losses, but at the end of the day, guys, this was a prime opportunity for Iowa to pick up at least one quad one victory on the road in their trip to Southern California. I know it was on a short time frame. I know they were traveling across country, but so what? It is what it is. A team that has the mental fortitude to get it done gets it done. They get it done. So this is a make or break point, guys, for this season. I will not get ahead of myself. There are things that I like. I'm not out of Iowa basketball overall yet. I'm not there. Last year, for those of you guys who have watched my channel for a long time, you guys know that I have said that I was going to give Fran McCaffrey 2 more years. This year and next year, and if I did not see a sizable uptick in what this program can be, that I would be off the bandwagon and I would be saying that it's time for a change, because we are approaching, and some would argue we're already there, where we've kind of been there, done that. And we've reached the pinnacle of what we can reach under Fran McCaffrey. And we're kind of just in this circular situation where it's the same old circle, revolving door going around and around and around. And it's just wild to me that Fran McCaffrey tried to give us some bull-ish about how they work so hard in the offseason defensively. I mean, at times this year, it's appeared that they're better defensively, but, this Iowa team lacks toughness. They lack toughness. They lack grittiness. Now, Fran McCaffrey said that he had no issues with how hard Iowa was playing, and I would somewhat agree with that. Okay, Iowa does play hard. They're a Big Ten team. They're Division I players. Okay, Fran McCaffrey, for what it's worth, regardless of being pinnacle or not, whoever he is, for the most part, his teams play with a certain pace and intensity. But there's a difference between intensity, playing hard, and being tough and gritty. They are vastly different things. And I can tell you, as a former Division I player myself, when you come across an opponent, either an individual or a team that does have that toughness, you can tell. You can tell right away. Right away. And right now, Iowa just does not have it. Iowa, when they're at home and they can feed off the crowd and their offense can be cooking and they're comfortable and they can hit shots, they're fine. They might even play decent defense. But when push comes to shove on the road, when they need it the most, and they're in a hostile environment, it doesn't happen. And it's kind of crazy that this is the case, given the fact that, Iowa has Josh Dix, who is a junior. Peyton Sanford is a senior. There's multiple upperclassmen on this roster. I wish, and I don't think it's going to happen. I wish that, and I've been saying this for a while, I wish Fran McCaffrey would consider trying to give more minutes to Evan Bronze or Riley Mulvey, because they need to find somebody who is a big, who is willing to get in there and just be a wrecking ball and just wreak havoc, play hard, play tough, and get it done. Are those guys the guys? I don't know. Now, can the guys who primarily get the playing time, can they become those guys? Sure. I mean, all of this is just desire. It's heart, guys. That's it. At the end of the day, it's heart. And I keep telling you guys, yes, when it comes to rebounding, being athletic, being tall definitely helps. But the best rebounders that have ever played the game of basketball, the best coaches, will all say the same thing. It is about this right here, your heart. So this is a make or break point, guys. We'll see what happens. The only person who had a decent game was Josh Dix, and even then it was a throwaway. We'll see what happens with Peyton Sandfort. It doesn't seem like it's a season-ending injury, but Iowa was getting so beat down that Iowa just shut them down. So I don't see any news that Peyton Sandfort is out for the season. And from what I saw Fran McCaffrey say, it doesn't seem to be a season-ending injury, but he might miss a game or two. So, time will tell. So this is a make or break point. That's all I can say. There's not much more to say, guys. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm going to try and not overreact if Iowa does win 2 in a row by beating Penn State and Minnesota at home, because that's what they should do. They should beat those two teams at home. So anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. There's not much more to be said about it. It was a bad performance. It was an embarrassing trip to Southern California. And Iowa should be absolutely ashamed of the performance they put on in Southern California. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment. You guys know the drill. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow. And facts are feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. I love you guys. And still, even with the loss, go Hawks. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.